Okay, so I want to talk about the correlation between growth and acceptance and how they're kind of almost like two polarities of the same thing. But I want to talk about how that kind of like correlates with your life and how leaning too far to one side can possibly push you out of balance and cause you suffering. So the point that I'm trying to get to is that there's this strive for growth and this strive for expansion and this strive for liberation and for just for basically like growing yourself and action oriented kind of thinking. And that's good for getting people to do stuff, and it's good for getting yourself to become motivated to do things and to have inspiration and things like that. But when taken to its excess, it also causes anxiety and almost like a dissolution of your understanding of your reality in a way, because you become so action oriented that you kind of lose you become so action oriented that you kind of lose that ability to be able to accept the moment how it is, and you always want to change it and then have it to be something else other than what it is, because your drive is pushing you to always improve or something like that. And then you have acceptance, which is on the other side of the spectrum. And when you are on that side of the spectrum, then you literally don't want to do anything because everything is exactly how it needs to be, and there's no need for you to do anything. So when you're on the full side of acceptance, then you literally just sit there and do nothing for your entire life, because you just accept everything the way it is. And that's not a problem or anything like that. Like, people can live like that, and it's probably more peaceful than the other side of the spectrum. But at the same time, there's a balance between the two of them that you can hold, where you have a drive and motivation, but at the same time you hold this understanding that there's this level of acceptance of what's going on at the moment that you need to be able to kind of hold on to for the whole time. Otherwise, you are going to kind of always be pushing yourself into something that your whole mind, body, and spirit may not be ready for, or something like that. Like you basically will cause yourself pain or suffering from uncomfort in the moment, and not feeling like anything's right or okay, and feeling like everything always needs to be changing or improving in some sort of way. So the balance between the two of them is a state of action where you can receive information from the universe, and you can receive kind of these intuitive guidances, and then it's basically to have the level of acceptance of the moment, to where you can sit with just yourself and you can receive these messages. And then there's a level of action that comes from that, where it's basically like the balance is that as you're sitting and receiving this information and this kind of knowledge, the action comes from the sense of wonder that you have from having these understandings, and the want to share that with the world. And then because like the person who sits on the full level of acceptance is going to understand that eventually everybody's going to come to that understanding anyways, so there's really nothing to do. But when you're sitting in the middle, then what you're going to do is you're going to end up, you'll get all that kind of like sensory information and all that stuff, and then there'll be this kind of sense of motivation or drive to communicate that in some sort of way, and to express that to the rest of the world, and eventually the rest of the cosmos and everything, just like to share that kind of information. And a lot of times, like people who are completely stagnant on their body level are very active on the mind and soul level. So it's there's so many different layers to this reality that you have to realize that when somebody's not fully on this layer, then they're probably more on another. And this includes a lot of different type of people, you know, like people who have so-called mental disorders or so-called you know, irregularities or anything like that, or autism. Like, these people are operating on a different frequency or a different spectrum than you are, and that's the only reason that you call them disabled in some way, when they're probably enabled in a lot of ways that you are not enabled, and they can probably see a lot of things that you can't see and feel things. Yeah. Sounds like some deer or something. But the point that I'm making in the beginning was that there's this kind of spectrum where you have to kind of come to this understanding that there's a level of stillness that needs to be achieved in order to be able to receive these new messages from the universe. Like, you can always kind of like relay things that other people have said, but if you ever want anything that's going to feel and express as if it's something that's not been done before, or something that feels genuine to you, then you have to give yourself time to be genuine to yourself and be with yourself, so that you can receive these things from something other than an external source. Because the universe is really internal and external at the same time. So like, you can gain a lot of information from external sources, but you'll never have truly unique kind of ideas come through until you take the time to sit with yourself or by yourself. And so there's a balance that needs to be achieved there, and there's different things can bring you to different kind of levels of the spectrum. And this is just like really simply putting all this stuff, but there's different things that you can do to bring yourself to different levels of the spectrum. Like, to motivate yourself, you can exercise, and you can do things actively, and like kind of like get your body and your mind, like basically work on your body first if you want the action oriented things, and get your body to where it's like ready and able to do things, and it's ready to be active, and it enjoys activity. There's actually a level that you can get to where like you, instead of thinking of exercise as being something that's draining to you, it's something that brings you energy, and it's something that you will enjoy doing. Like for me, I like at this point, I love running at this point. I don't know, like I never used to love this kind of stuff until it became easy. And then now that it's easy to do, it's something that's enjoyable and fun. But it took, you know, changing my entire health structure for that to happen. But the level of difference is absolutely astounding. It's huge, you know, it's a huge thing, because it's actually very enjoyable to do exercise now, and to just be outside, and to like, I feel more comfortable being outside. And this is literally in Georgia, and it's like 90 something degrees outside almost every day, and I don't even like really break a sweat anymore unless I start running a lot. And it feels literally perfect. Like like today it's not really 90, it's like probably closer to like 80, but 80 even feels perfect too. Like all the way up until about 95 degrees it feels literally perfect, and 95 it just feels like a hot bath. And if you think about a hot bath, like you can sit in there and it feels good for a little bit, but then after a while, you kind of just want to get out. And so that's what I mean by that. But it's very interesting, because it seems like my body literally like photosynthesizes light at this point. And it turns light energy into literal energy. And it seems like very powerful. Like it's actually like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't really, it's like this sense of kind of like it's energy, but it's not energy in the way that it's described normally. It's like life force. So you literally feel just more life force kind of energy, which is just like the vitality and the way that you feel. Like it's just like you feel as though you can just keep doing stuff and keep going while the sun's up. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into this, because I think that's actually a pretty decent topic. But I will conclude this video really quick, and then I'll film a couple more later today. So thank you guys.